Air traffic control loses contact with passenger plane over ocean. Investigation leads to surprising theory,
Investigation,
which overcomes everything that could be imagined.
engine ignition successful. Engine start checklist completed.
Alright, request taxi.
The pilots of a domestic flight are ready for departure at Maine International Airport.
BFI 541, requesting taxi with Sierra.
Merrily 541, taxi runway 36 via Charlie Mike Alpha.
36 via Charlie Mike Alpha 541.
Today's flight is operated by an RL-72.
The RL-72 is a twin turboprop aircraft built in 1979. Widely used by regional airlines, it can carry more passengers than its predecessor, the RL-42. It is an aircraft appreciated by many pilots.
At the helm of Merely Air Flight 541 is 39 years old Captain Echo Shi, who has nearly 10,000 hours of flight time. Alongside him is 31 years old First Officer Stephen Sitohang, who joined the airline a year earlier. 72 passengers and 5 crew members took place on board.
Merely 541, you're clear for takeoff. Wind's gone.
Clear for takeoff, Mere Flight 541, thank you.
I have the controls.
You have the controls.
Just before 5 p.m., the pilots begin their takeoff roll.
Power set.
$60 knots.
Check.
V1. Rotate.
The plane takes off at 4:53 p.m.
Positive climb.
Gear up.
Gear up.
Turning left towards Bravo Hotel.
The aircraft turns left and climbs to its cruising altitude of 15,000 feet. The flight should take around half an hour. Several kilometers further, at Field Airport, air traffic controller Nolan Wright manages relatively calm traffic.
Charlie Alpha, contact main radar on 113.
3.75. Contacting main radar on 113.75, thank you.
It was then that Flight 541 appeared on radar.
When the plane appeared on radar, I was surprised to see the plane below its cruising altitude, so I tried to contact the crew.
Burley 541, what cruising altitude have you been assigned?
But it's radio silence.
Burley 541, do
You copy.
It is a stressful situation for any air traffic controller to lose contact with an aircraft.
The tension rises a notch as the plane crosses the runway threshold.
When the plane overshot the runway, I was in shock and called emergency services. For me, it was an emergency.
And a difficulty is brewing. The plane is heading towards the ocean, out of range of Nolan's radar. He decides to contact Gulf Air Traffic Controller to obtain the position of the plane.
I have a problem right now. Well, then...
Right now, the plane has crossed the coast.
Alright, keep an eye on him.
I'll call you back. Where are my reinforcements?
Nolan requests assistance from military aircraft coming from Maine to intercept the RL-72.
So where is he now?
It's disappeared from my radar. That's it. I've lost it.
Merely Air Flight 541 disappeared from control screens 45 minutes after takeoff. next day, searches began for the plane, which had been missing for more than 15 hours. Helicopters scanned the ocean's surface for floating debris, but it only took the teams 3 hours to discover pieces of wreckage floating on the surface, 25 kilometers offshore. It's confirmed all 77 occupants of Merely Air Flight 541 have perished. The families are in shock and want answers about the circumstances that led to the plane crash. Investigators from the island's Transportation Safety Board will lead the technical investigation. They begin by questioning the last people to have spoken to the pilots, the air traffic controllers, and they make a major discovery while questioning the ATC of Main Tower. They learn that the pilots reported a problem moments after takeoff.
Tower, just Merely 541. Have a problem.
Our takeoff configuration alarm has activated. We'll maintain 150.
Merely 541, well received. Climb to 150 and enter holding pattern Tango Alpha Hotel.
10 minutes later, they contact him again.
Tower, this is 541. Problem solved. We're going down to 11,000.
But the controller noticed that the pilot sounded stressed. Despite this, he assigns a new frequency to the pilots.
Okay, contact field control at 118.5.
All right.
Two questions arises. Why did the alarm go off? And what happened to the pilots during the flight? As the investigation progresses, a major discovery emerges during the autopsy of the recovered passengers. Many of them were found with residue from the plane's oxygen masks on their faces, which could indicate that a depressurization caused their deployment.
A depressurization is, in other words, a drop in atmospheric pressure in the cabin, causing a drop in oxygen level as the aircraft gains altitude.
A new hypothesis is considered. Did the plane experience a depressurization? This could explain the alarm.
Master, warning.
The crew may have been misled
Takeoff configuration?
into thinking it was the takeoff configuration alarm when it was actually the cabin altitude alarm. Disoriented by the lack of oxygen, they probably couldn't fix the problem. This could also explain communication.
Tower, this is 541. Problem solved. We're going down to 11,000.
Could it be a depressurization that caused the crash of Flight 541? That would explain part of it, but other questions remain with this hypothesis. After the final radio exchange with main ATC, the plane descended to 11,000 feet before remaining there until it disappeared from radar. So what happened in the cockpit at that moment? Before they even have time to answer this question, they receive a call from the airport ground technicians about something that happened a few hours before the flight's departure. A fuel truck hit the plane. The driver then fled in the vehicle. This is a major discovery that reinforces the theory of depressurization. But without physical evidence, it's impossible to prove the hypothesis. The truck driver is on the run, and investigators still haven't found the rear of the plane and its precious flight recorders, which still reside in the ocean. It has been nearly 6 months since Merely Air Flight 541 crashed into the ocean. The investigation has stalled, and the search for the flight recorders continues. It was then, on November 28, 2017, that the fate of the investigation changed completely. The flight data recorder was finally found, buried in the sand. He was quickly sent to the ITSB labs. The CVR will never be found.
Without CVR, it was impossible for investigators to know what the pilots had said to each other during the incident. But that didn't discourage them from using an orthodox method to reconstruct the flight.
With the FDR, the pilot's files, and the proofs they have at their disposal, they will try to reconstruct the incident that occurred this day. Several minutes after takeoff, a pressure sensor triggered the master warning, indicating to the pilots that the cabin was depressurizing. According to his file, First Officer Sito Hang had experience. He had even started training on depressurization cases.
Master warning.
Investigators therefore deduce that the co-pilot correctly identified the problem.
Takeoff configuration.
Despite his great experience, Captain Shi has never experienced this situation.
No, actually.
This difference in training probably played a role in the accident.
I manage the controls and the radio. You check the checklist.
Got it.
Tower, this is merely 541. We have a problem.
Our takeoff configuration alarm has activated. We'll maintain 150.
The co-pilot probably looked for the fault on the checklist.
Merely 541, well received. Climb to 150 and enter holding pattern Tango Alpha Hotel.
But a takeoff configuration problem in flight does not exist.
I can't find anything on the checklist. Man, I'm telling you, it's not a configuration problem.
The plane has been flying for 6 minutes, and the situation becomes complicated when the master caution is triggered.
Now it's the master caution.
In this case, the alarm indicates the deployment of oxygen masks in the cabin. For 5 minutes, no action or commands were taken. Investigators concluded that the pilots were victims of hypoxia at that time due to lack of oxygen at high altitude. In the cabin, passengers and crew are unaware of the pilot's situation.
I guess they were worried sick about not getting any news from the cockpit.
Just before the aircraft's last radio contact, the auxiliary power unit was activated and the aircraft was put into descent via the autopilot.
Tower, this is a 541. Problem solved. We're going down to 11,000.
Investigators believe that one of the pilots who was still conscious, probably the co-pilot, took control and lowered the plane to a breathable altitude. But without a mask for 10 minutes, he passed out before. From then on, no one flies the plane anymore.
Burley 541, what cruising altitude have you been assigned? Burley 541, do you copy?
I have a problem right now.
The plane passes the coast and continues its route east for nearly 40 minutes. And the investigators come to a horrible conclusion. A large number of passengers were still conscious due to the use of their masks.
It's horrible because they certainly knew they were going to die. They had no way to get into the locked cockpit.
More than an hour after taking off from Main Airport, Flight 541 ran out of fuel.
Bank angle, bank angle.
Sync rate. Pull up.
In December 2019, the ITSB published a first investigation report. According to the report, the main cause of the accident was a breach in the fuselage caused on the ground of unknown origin, which caused a loss of pressure in flight and pilot incapacity. The report also highlights pilot training, which may have been a decisive factor in the crash. Investigators recommend more advanced pilot training in cases of altitude depressurization and additional training for pilots to improve their communication skills in an emergency. But the story of Flight 541 is not over yet. A few days after the release of the investigation report, the Federal Investigation Agency opened a criminal investigation to determine responsibility for the deaths of the 77 people on board. Thanks to the testimony of airport agents, investigators managed to identify the driver, Olivier Ruth. On March 4, 2020, he was arrested at his home, and the truck was found in one of his garages. Investigators then discovered scratches on the rear lights. Analysis of the latter reveals traces of paint from the RL-72 that crashed 3 years earlier. In June 2021, a new, more comprehensive report was published. This new report details the collision between a tanker truck and the aircraft, causing a breach and resulting in a loss of pressure. The recommendations also provide for additional training for ground staff. On February 2, 2022, Olivier Ruth was sentenced to 15 years in prison for the involuntarily manslaughter of 77 people.
The crash of Flight 541 is a unique case in aviation. It brought to light technical failures, probably differences between the formations and difficulties in pilot communications. This accident has certainly helped raise awareness in the aviation industry of this risk and prevent it from happening again.